Right guys, so the view from inside the hammock, you can see that the bug net is actually sagging in the middle because you've got two loops to attach to the paracord that's supposed to pull it away from you when you're in the hammock. But it obviously doesn't work, and there's a big sagging part in the middle which falls onto your face. And so I'm going to modify this, and hopefully this will solve the problem. Hello, today I'm going to be doing a video on some modifications to my hammock. This is the £12 eBay hammock that I did a review of. If you haven't seen the review before, then there'll be some links at the end of this to show you exactly how it performed. £12 off eBay. But there's a few shortcomings. It's got an integral mosquito net, and the way that the mosquito net works is that you've got two zips down one side, and there's two loops, and there's three lots of two loops, and you've got some paracord. Now the idea is that, and the easiest way to do it is to show you on here. If you look at the cross section of the hammock, that's the hammock, that's you lay in the hammock, and the mosquito net comes up like that to a loop, across to a loop, and back down again. Now the problem you've got is that you've got two lengths of paracord that go through the three loops as it goes along, and you're supposed to tie these, I'm presuming, around the tree. So hopefully you can see that, but I'll show a photograph of this in a minute. But basically, the upshot of it is that there's not enough paracord to go round the trees. The hammock is 2.6 meters in length, and the paracord's about 2 meters. Go figure. You're not going round any trees. So the other problem you've got is that when you're actually in the hammock, I'll show you this, you get that kind of sag. So it sags like that in between the loops, so it doesn't do the job of keeping it off your face. So what I've decided to do is to do away with the two loops and have one loop in the middle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this, shut up bloody dog, flat lace. Now this is some lace that I've pulled out of an old army jacket, an old DPM jacket that I had, and you can use any sort of flat ribbon or flat lace that will do the job. Now the thing is, at this stage there's no sewing involved, because what I'm going to use is cyanoacrylate super glue. Now in actual fact, super glue was formed or created in the Second World War, and as the story goes, because the fighter pilots had a lot of shattered glass coming from the windscreens, which were just normal glass at the time, they would cause a lot of slither cuts in the faces that were too small but too much of an acute angle to be stitched. So they formed super glue, cyanoacrylate, to glue the flaps down, and that's the story of super glue. But today what we're going to do is we're going to pull the hammock out, And what we're going to do is I'm going to modify this. Now there's the paracord that you get with it, and it runs through the three loops. There are the two loops that it runs through, so it does that kind of thing, which in theory is great. But if you're tying your hammock to a tree of that circumference, well then you're not going to get much pull any road. I mean, the distance between that is what, about 500 mil? Not a bad guess. 445 centimeters in old money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a loop on there. Simple as that. And the way that I'm going to do it is like this. I'm going to super glue the lace to it. Now I'm going to alter the angle of the camera so there's a close-up and you can see exactly what I'm doing. Another slurp of my tea. So I'm going to be starting at one end of the mosquito net. That's the flat lace that I'm going to be using, and the first part, there's three parts to the suspension system on this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure now. I'm going to measure this part here, which is 45, and then I'm going to come 22 and a half, and I'm going to put a mark. So I now know where the middle is. So the next job now is to have another drink of my tea. Now I'm going to want a loop which is going to be about 1.25 inches, and then I'm going to want a good inch to glue to this part of the tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that, and then if I'm doing 3, I might as well cut 3. That's the cutting done. So now I've got the 3 pieces of flat lace or tape, whatever you're using, and I'm now going to use super glue, and I'm going to put my hand in the net underneath so I don't stick it together. And what I'm going to do is pop the lid off, and I'm going to keep that handy, find the mark, and I'm now going to put a dab of super glue on there, and then I'm going to take the tape, and then I'm going to press it together firmly, and you'll feel the heat of the super glue start to almost burn your fingers as it sets. But once this is set, it's going to be going nowhere. And remember, all it's doing is supporting the net, so there's not much weight in the net any road. So now that that's caught like that, that now is glued up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it round and do the other side, but if you look closely, what I'm going to do is form the loop and come back down on the other side. So I'll have a loop like that. So that's the idea. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some super glue on this side of the tape, making sure that there's nothing underneath in case it seeps through, because you don't want to glue it together. I'm going to put another line of super glue on there, bring that across, I'm going to press that on there, and then I'm just going to press and hold for approximately about 10 seconds does it. I can actually feel the heat coming through that as it sets. Now it does set a little bit stiff, which is all well and good. That gets hot, that. And there you go, there's your loop. Simple as that. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go round the edge of it with the super glue just to consolidate the seal, and along the edges like that. And what that's going to do is that's going to set, and it's going to stiffen all this as well. And I'm going to now do the same here by consolidating this side. Not to take my breath away, this. You got to be very careful with this because it can get on your lungs. It's quite a potent glue. And that's it. There's your middle loop. Simple as that. Now you can, at this stage, if you wish to, get a needle and thread and stitch through that, but there's no need, because that now is going to support the whole of the net. So you can now tie a bit of shock cord through that and then put it onto your line that you're going to run your tarp through. Or you can use this paracord that you get by tying it together and making a longer thread and just run it from one tree to the other. Job done. I don't know why they went for this kind of idea, because I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, in theory, yeah, it makes a box shape, but in practice what you get is that. So it's falling all over your face any road. But now with these loops I can tie them up. All you got to do is do that to all three. Job done. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to carry on doing these, and then we're going to go to the tree and we're going to rig the hammock up, and we're going to see how this works in practice and see if the theory matches the practice. So here we are in the woods, and I've got the hammock set up, and I've also got the ridge line set up. This is a 9mm nylon cordage. I've got 15 meters of it, and I've rigged it up from tree to tree to put the ridge line up. And I've got also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 prusik knots, and one of them has a lightweight carabiner on. That is for one use really only, and that's for holding my boots when I'm in the middle of the night. I put the 2 loops through this and they hang up there, keep nice and dry if it rains. This outside prusik knot is for the tarp, So I put the tarp loop through there. I've then got prusik number 1 coming down to the loop that we made on the net. Now this is held in place by a simple shock cord system, just a piece of shock cord which is tied onto there with an overhand knot, and then it simply goes through there, pull the knot through, pull it tight, and that's that. I've got the middle one there and the last third one, and then the prusik knot there is for the tarp. And there we have it. Now another modification I've done is I've put onto the zips a loop. Now I've put this with white paracord so that it's actually visible at night. It's not very stealth, but then again, once you set up in your camp, you can always tuck that inside there and it won't be seen. But in the middle of the night, you can just feel around for that in the dark, put your finger in and pull it, and that's how it works. And the same applies on this end, and you can with a little bit of practice, you can hook your toe through that or your foot and just pull it up so you can get your hands on it, because the middle of the hammock is right there, so you could then reach down and away you go. So there we have it. That's the modifications I've done to the tarp, and now I'm going to get in it and we'll see exactly how it works with the shock cord and the prusik knots instead of a very short paracord that come with it, and hopefully this should do the job. Well, I'd say that was a success as far as I'm concerned. As you can see, the loops on the shock cord work out perfectly. I think it's something that if you're going to do these modifications that I've done, then I suggest that you set everything up yourself and work it to your own situation, because the weight of the person in the hammock will pull. You know, you've just got to make it work for you. But there you go, give it a go. What have you got to lose?
Leave no trace of the tracks that you have made.